when you speak about the surprise that this is going, and everyone is surprised about it. But yes, you also say we're in recession, and it could affect our recovery, or who knows if it gets us into depression. But the commentary from U.S. mission, they keep saying, well, yes, the AGOA, Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, and several other processes or trade relations still exist, and who knows, it won't be threatened. But have we been taking advantage of all of those before now?
That's the point. That's the point, really. How much of AGOA? We're past one of the countries with the least participation in AGOA. Kenya, East Central African countries are doing much better. Of course, there's a new effort, being spearheaded by the Nigeria-American Chamber of Commerce, and to try and rev it up. It's a recent effort, but whether that will yield much is yet to be seen. But beyond the surprise, I think the area of greatest risk for Nigeria is first in the area of American aid. Most of the world, Nigeria inclusive, depend a lot on American aid. Most of our health policies, programs, all this fight against polio, against some of these diseases, AIDS, for example. America is the one spending most of the money that has been used to fight AIDS in Nigeria, through different PEPFAR, through their institutions.
And we don't have labs here that we're building ourselves to develop some of these vaccines back home.
That is not, I mean, that we're not doing much in that area. I'm talking about sending money and sending for us to buy medicines and take care of the AIDS patients. More than 90% of the funding is from the United States since AIDS came to the world, and in other disease areas, in other healthcare, so that is where my greatest fear is, because if Trump rolls back and holds the brake, funding to those activities may depreciate.
But does
that will force us to seek how we can take care of ourselves.
How much of it comes from American government or some of the agencies or private sector driven ones? How much of that?
Much of it is from government. Some have recently, when you have people like Bill Gates, he's the major American individual, and those who are just joining him. But you have standard American government, CDC, Center for Disease Control. They are supporting a lot of activities. You saw how they were here during Ebola. You have there are several institutions that support activities in Nigeria, as well as in other countries, probably worse in some other countries who are really, if you take out the American aid, many of them will be dead economically. But Nigeria, it's in that area that I fear difficulties, and of course the indirect trade issues. If China, if Southeast Asia, if global trade relationships across the globe is disrupted, then Nigeria will be affected. Directly with America, I don't see much in the short run, but I fear for aid and support to a couple of the activities.
Makwe?
Well, part of the lessons that Mr. Byron was saying that we need to learn is that we need to face what is going on in Nigeria and see how it is that we can pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and work on our country, so that we do not have a case where a lot of our people have to leave. And that's why it's very important that local policies are in place. Are you seeing anything that will be encouraging? For instance, the tax issue which you raised, do you think that the Lagos state government was responsive in addressing that, for instance?
Well, the truth is that right now we haven't come to full realization and understanding of what it is to make Nigerians love their country, work for their country, and be prepared to die for their country. That's why every young person thinks about going abroad. Those who can go to America go to Afghanistan or Iraq if they find opportunity. Anywhere, there's nowhere Nigerians are not running to. And they get into the cold embrace of several prisons in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. The thing is that I can't see any decided effort. There are platitudes, sometimes comments are made. There's no coherent effort to build patriotism and also to give hope. I don't find it. It does not exist in any significant proportion. Otherwise, the young people would not be running away from our country. In fact, now it's not only young people, even the old people are. So I think the American challenge should give us opportunity to rethink, to take a big breath and say, how do we make our country a good place? I mean, when you hear that Nigerians are among those dying on the Mediterranean Sea, on the shores of Italy and Sicily and Spain, I just cannot understand it. I mean, coming from where I am, but it is a clear evidence of the fact that people do not find home sufficiently protective, and they just become hopeless. So I think government and those of us who are better placed, I mean, the kind of thing people like Tony Elumelu is doing, and such things seem to be finding an opportunity to give hope to young people that this is a country that cares. I do not think that our government sufficiently cares, and I'm speaking about government, federal and state. Very few care. The way people are killed, the way people are molested, the way, I mean, recently people are when I listen to what is happening to some of these lawyers and judges and all that, I say, well, even though people say what is happened is not the best, but maybe it gives them the opportunity to see what the poor man is saying. That's the way poor people are raided, treated without rights. They are maligned, police, army, everybody. We are victims to government and its apparatus, the ordinary Nigerian. Nobody to speak for them. So when the rich begin to cry, the poor say, well, thank God that the rich can also cry. And I think the point I'm making, and I make it very sincerely, is that we must take a position to make Nigerians feel that this is a country that cares for them and a country that is concerned with their future. Right now, most Nigerians think that there are two countries. Countries of the privileged, especially the political class, and then the rest of us. That's the way they think. And that's not a good way to think. We need to break that wall and say, we're one country, we're one people, we are political heads and leaders, and our main job is about you.
So, no more walls. Mr. Sam Ohuabunwa, former president, Nigeria-America Chamber of Commerce, thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.